What an incredible season we have had on our weight and metabolism symptom. I have learnt so much from all of the experts that we interviewed. Align your body with the sun as much as you can. And this is what Dr. Josh talks about in his episode, that 3 p.m. slump, feeling tired when you wake up, trouble recovering from exercise. These are all signs that your metabolism needs support. We need to support that by supporting your 4 fundamentals. It also ties into what Dr. Gina was talking about when you want to change a habit. It's sort of like a link in a sequence or in a recipe. If you are always following that same recipe, you're always going to get the same result. But if you skip a step, then the result changes. Everything in the body is connected. So things like when I watched Taran's documentary before interviewing her, the importance that women put on their body, what people say to us, the marketing, it's everywhere and you don't even realize it. So what do we actually do about this and how do we really change your system? The first thing for really creating a big shift and change in your life when it comes to this is
it is so frustrating. I feel like I'm training so hard. I'm working out. I am looking after myself, but the weight is not shifting.
I just don't know what the to do anymore.
Is it my hormones? Should I be avoiding HIIT exercise?
No matter how much I try, I can't stop eating chocolate.
For so many women, weight becomes a battle, a number, a judgment, a story we never chose but somehow inherited. But what if weight isn't the problem? What if it's a message, a signal from a body trying to communicate? Not the noise we're constantly fed. Keto, fasting, Ozempic, hormones, cortisol, genetics, shame, but real information without blame, without fear. That is the question that led us to create our Weight and Metabolism series, exploring weight through an unbiased approach combining medical, functional, and energetic understanding. We sit down with leading experts and real women to reframe how we understand weight, health, and the bodies we live in, giving you clarity, context, and a way forward. This is What's My Body Telling Me, the podcast where we let the body do the talking and we listen differently. Wow, what an incredible season we have had on our weight and metabolism symptom. I have learnt so much from all of the experts that we interviewed, and some of it was actually surprising. So what I want to do in this episode is wrap it all up for you, because if you are someone that has been struggling with your weight, and I actually, in fact, saw a patient just yesterday that was describing how she started putting on weight for no apparent reason, hadn't changed her diet, hadn't changed her exercise. And when she first started going to the doctor, they said, you just need to eat less, exercise more, essentially. Or they sort of inferred that she was lazy or that she didn't know what she was doing when she was calculating the calories. And then she found herself going to a different doctor. They did different tests and they found that her thyroid wasn't working. And that patient then was told to be on thyroid medication for the rest of her life. And she doesn't want to be on thyroid medication for the rest of her life. And I asked her why, not because I believe either way. I was just curious. And she said, because I don't feel like that's solving the problem. Like, why is my thyroid not working to begin with? And this is the whole point. This is the whole point when it comes to our body. I say it time and time again, your body isn't the problem, it's the solution. So if you are feeling like, or if you're noticing, not even feeling like, you are hardcore, legitimately noticing that your weight is gaining and you haven't changed anything with your calories in, calories out calculation, and you have listened to all of these episodes, you're thinking, okay, right. So it isn't just calories in, calories out. So what do I actually do about it? How do I change my habits? Maybe I feel like I'm always a chocoholic or I'm always thinking about food. Should I start to take Ozempic? Should I talk to a doctor about that? What type of foods should I eat? Is it my thyroid? What about my stress levels? How do I change when all the people around me think of me as the fat person? And if I change those things, then am I going to fit in? So there's so many different aspects to this. But in this episode, I want to make it really, really simple and easy to understand and remove the shame, because that was the one thing that actually really surprised me, because in all honesty, I didn't think that I had any shame or concern about body image. I actually grew up in a household where my mum it wasn't ever a, oh, you look fat, you look skinny, you should go on a diet, I should watch what I eat, or I ate that, now I have to go exercise. There was none of that sort of inference that I remember. It was more so, oh, we ate chocolate and lollies and chips and all of the processed different foods when we were younger, but it was always, oh, you're hungry for that, have some apple, have some protein, have some meat, have some of these things to nourish you, and if you still want it, absolutely, go for it. But it was more so around, how are we going to look after your body? Like, what does your body need? So when I was listening to Tara and I was listening to Emma, and even the stories from the experts and Dr. Gina, Dr. Josh and Dr. Alex, it made me realize, or maybe there is some internalized shame that's there that I didn't even realize. So things like when I watched Taran's documentary, Embrace, before interviewing her, the importance that women put on their body and the importance that we put on our appearance. And it's not necessarily our fault by any means. It's society and how we've been conditioned and all of the different aspects that go into our environment, what people say to us, the marketing systems. It's everywhere and you don't even realize it. I didn't even realize it. I actually had a situation this week where I got my period. I was on the first day of my period, and hormonally for everyone, generally we feel a little bit more bloated in that pouch below our belly button because our uterus has got a lot of blood and it's shedding it. So, and also, really interestingly, I was sitting there on the toilet, I looked down at my belly and I pinched it and I was like, oh, what the hell? Like, started to have all of these self-conscious thoughts about my belly. And then in that split second, because I've been doing all of these interviews and all of the different knowledge that I have about hormones and how it affects your brain and all of the incredible experts that we get to interview on this podcast, it got me thinking, okay, well, at this point in my cycle with my hormones, I am prioritizing safety and security because I could have been pregnant. My hormones are at their lowest. My progesterone has just dropped. I might be a bit more vulnerable. I'm not in a state where I'm going to be able to fall pregnant. When I'm in a state where I'm going to be able to fall pregnant, aka ovulation and then the build up to ovulation, my thoughts about myself are going to be kinder. I'm going to feel more voluptuous. I'm going to feel more flirty. I'm going to feel more outgoing because my biology is gearing me up to be like, hey, like you want to find a mate so that you can keep the human race going. So that's happening on a biological hormonal level. So the first day of your period when your hormones are the lowest, you can be feeling more vulnerable. And that got me thinking, well, why am I focusing on my appearance? And then I tied this to a research article that I heard about, which is to do with male apes and who the alpha male ape is and the level of testosterone. So basically in this research article, they found that whatever the society or the tribe of apes deemed as the thing that showed the most power or the most prestige, that behavior, that is what the dominant or the ape that had the most testosterone, that is the behavior that they depicted. So if society deems power, control, strength, aggression as something that gives you power, then you're more likely to demonstrate that behavior. If society deems having gratitude, being open, being collaborative as the thing that gives you more power, you are more likely to do behaviors that enact that. So then that got me thinking, okay, well, what society puts worth on women? And a lot of it is our appearance. But that doesn't mean we can't change that. It just means that we need to be aware of that. It's not that it is a personal downfall of ourselves. It's that we are swimming in this environment that is telling us all of these different messages. So these are all really, really important things to remember when you're beating yourself up about your weight. Your weight often doesn't come by itself, right? It is a symptom of something else that's going on underneath the surface, particularly when you have those symptoms that I just mentioned, and also the symptoms that Dr. Josh mentioned in his episode as well. That 3 p.m. slump, feeling tired when you wake up, trouble recovering from exercise, feeling breathless when you exercise. These are all signs that your metabolism needs support. And your metabolism is how your body manages your energy. That's literally it. When you metabolize something, we can swap metabolize with, say, convert. So your metabolism happens in your car engine. So imagine you fill up your car with fuel, those calories. How do those calories get converted into into motion, changing that energy by the engine being able to work? So when that metabolism isn't working as well, we can notice those brain fog, waking up tired, feeling exhausted, poor recovery from exercise, feeling breathless when you're exercising, having trouble with your gut, your menstrual cycle is all over the shop. These things are telling us, hey, we need to care for your metabolism. Your body is struggling with knowing what to do with your energy. And then when we piece that together with what Dr. Alex was talking about on that medical lens episode, the main thing that I really took from that was the set point, the metabolic set point, which actually happens to come from a part of our brain called the hypothalamus. And if you are someone that is listening to this and you're struggling with your weight, you also notice that you have hormonal things that are going on as well, and maybe stress, maybe gut. The master controller of all of your hormones and the thermostat in your body to know, where am I putting my energy? How much energy do I need? Am I putting my energy into being able to survive, aka my stress response, my immune system? Am I putting my energy into sleeping? Am I putting it into my menstrual cycle and reproduction? So our body needs to know where to shuttle that energy and how much we need to possibly conserve, because it might be thinking, oh, it's wintertime and we need to conserve our energy because we might not have access to food. That's what our primal brain often does. But we have Uber Eats now, we have refrigerators, we have supermarkets. So our body hasn't caught up with modern lifestyle. And I don't think it's going to for a very, very long time. So what we need to do is understand this is how our body works. And to make it really clear and simple, we want to come back to that part of our brain, the hypothalamus, that thermostat. I just want you to think of it as a thermostat. That part of our body is the thing that controls how much energy do we need and where are we going to put it. So Dr. Alex talked about GLP-1s, things like Ozempic, things like Mounjaro, and he was talking about how incredibly impactful they can be because they help with that thermostat. If your body has a thermostat that says, hey, I need this amount of energy always, and then you diet, you exercise, you do all the things to lose it, but then all of a sudden it just gradually always comes back up to that level, our body can be thinking, well, I know you're eating these foods, but I'm going to possibly make you tireder because I don't want you to expend more energy, or I'm going to use this energy to do the things that keep me alive, aka survive, not the things that actually make me feel alive. So I don't have any of this excess leftover energy for the things that I really want to do because my body is thinking, we just need to save this energy because we might need it for this stuff that actually keeps us alive. So we need to keep it for that. So this is in particular if you are waking up exhausted and tired, if you are noticing your weight is difficult to shift, if you are noticing you're getting recurrent sickness or your immune system seems to be hypervigilant, like histamine-like things, gut issues, boundary issues, skin issues, that stuff is like, my immune system is a bit on high alert. My body is thinking it needs to shift this energy this way. And if my immune system's on alert, it goes, okay, well, we need to make sure that we have enough energy to do this and to conserve that energy. So we might hold on to weight because our body needs to stockpile it. And also we might notice that we don't consume as much energy and we don't have enough energy to be able to do the things we like. See how it's an energy balance. And the thing that controls this is that hypothalamus. And GLP-1s, as Dr. Alex said, help to change this thermostat. So they are definitely something that you can consider, obviously speaking with your doctor about if this is a suitable thing for you. But also that got me thinking, well, why is it that our thermostat is doing that? Why is it that a lot of people's happen to be moving that way and some don't? Why is it that it's seemingly like my thermostat was set really well, and now all of a sudden, like the patient that I spoke about at the start, my thermostat seems to be set higher, like I need to hold on to more energy? Why is that? So what actually controls that thermostat? Yes, a medication can come in and help change that, but why did it change in the first place? It wasn't for a lack of the medication. That's where I always come back to, is like, okay, well, why is that happening? And it got me thinking, particularly talking with Dr. Josh in the functional episode and doing a little bit more research. Everything in the body is connected. Absolutely everything. You cannot do one thing and expect nothing else to change. That is why whenever you take any medication, there is always a list of possible side effects that can happen, because if you change one part of the system, everything else changes. It also ties into what Gina was talking about, or Dr. Gina was talking about, where when you want to change a habit, it's sort of like a link in a sequence or in a recipe. And if you are always following that same recipe, you're always going to get the same result. But if you skip a step, then the result changes. So if you make a change to any part of that system, aka introduce a medication, the whole output has definitely the potential to change in some way, shape, or form. So how can we help that system and listen to our body in a different way and potentially support it functionally? So as Dr. Josh was talking about in the functional episode, the hormone called leptin. So leptin is a hormone that helps your body go, oh, hey, our fat cells are full. We are full of energy, so we don't need any more coming in. So that's really great. When we are holding on to more adipose tissue, what that is often a signal of is that our body is leptin resistant. Leptin resistance means your fat cells are saying, hey, we're full. We don't need any more food. We've got energy. We have this energy, but that message is muted. It's not getting to the brain. So that's where we get a lot of noise around food. We're always thinking about food. We can overeat, but we don't even realize we're overeating. We struggle to actually access our fat as fuel to be able to switch into that mode. So everything is linked. Then I thought, well, why is it? And as Dr. Josh says, why is it that happens? And it comes back to that hypothalamus and what we can do to support that. So, do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say we need to support that by supporting your 4 fundamentals. So the hypothalamus is in the middle of your brain. So it's part of your nervous system. It's getting feedback from all parts of your body. So when we care for all 4 parts of your fundamentals, your nervous system, metabolism, nutrients, and blood sugars, that helps your hypothalamus go, oh, this is how much energy we have. We can actually recalibrate that level of energy. We can turn the thermostat up or down. And what happens is your symptoms of brain fog, of weight gain, of difficulty having energy in the morning, of your immune system feeling like it's really hyperactive, start to subside, because your body's then saying, oh, hey, I can access this energy in a different way. My energy balance has shifted. I'm using the energy to be able to do things that make me feel alive, because I no longer feel like I need to do them for all these survival aspects. So what do we actually do about this, and how do we really change your system? So number 1, for really creating a big shift and change in your life when it comes to this, the first thing is in the energetics, and when we talk about the energetics, is a paradigm shift. So we spoke about this in Dr. Gina's episode. It's what is the identity that you have of yourself? And this is where it can be a little bit tricky, and this is where our environment plays a part. Because if you feel like your identity is, I'm the fat one in the group, that is your subconscious that is actually playing a role in all of the mini micro decisions and actions that you take. So we need to focus on, okay, what is the identity? What is that? What do I want to change that to? And I wrote some down of common ones that you might notice that you have. And I notice this in different people in my life and different patients that I listen to, strangers, about what we often can think about our weight. And this goes to societal expectations as well. We can often think that my weight is my worth. So what you look like, as Taran was talking about in her documentary Embrace, which if you haven't watched, I would highly recommend. But a lot of that is to do with, well, if I'm skinny, then I'll be happy. But what she found and what so many people find is that actually your weight has nothing to do with your happiness or not. We also might think that fat people are lazy. And if you have that belief, then, and you don't want to be seen as lazy, you might kill yourself to prove that you're not lazy. So you're doing and doing and doing and doing things when you're exhausted. And what that's doing is completely affecting that energy thermostat and making it harder to lose weight as well. Because you're like, I don't want to be seen as lazy. I can't tell you how many people that I pull up now when they say things and I go, oh yeah, well, they're just lazy. I'm like, why are you thinking they're lazy? They actually do so many things and they're like, I wouldn't think of that person as lazy at all. But because they're overweight, you're going to call them lazy. So that may be something that's in your thought patterns and in that identity. So it's something to think about. We also might think that I will sacrifice my happiness to be happy. And this is what Emma was talking about in her episode. It's like, I will starve myself. I will exercise like crazy because when I'm skinny, then everything will be okay. I'm not happy, but skinny is better. And then we also might have the opposite where we think, well, being skinny makes me happy. So how do we start to change this? And I want to just invite you to think about these alternative beliefs and alternative identities that you can take on. You can think of your own, but feel into what feels good. So I'm someone who nourishes themselves. I also really love my appearance is the least interesting thing about me. Stealing that one from Taran. And I also really love my weight is a signal from my body. That's it. It's just a signal. It doesn't mean anything about you. So have a play around with what is your story? Like, what's your identity around this? What are the beliefs that are going to underpin and take you moving forward? And that is where I really love that I'm someone that nourishes herself. That feels really good to me. So have a play around with what feels good to you. And then when we move into this, we go, okay, well, now I've got the energetics. We can focus on that belief about ourselves. Because when that changes, our actions automatically start to change. I'm someone that nourishes themselves. When you're nourished, you're not over-nourishing yourself like, oh, I feel really nourished. You're not then going, oh, well, I need this and I need this and I'm going to eat this and I'm going to have more and more and more and more and more, because that is coming from someone that's like, I'm not nourished. I never feel nourished. It's never enough. More is always better. When we're nourished, that doesn't mean we have more. It means we're nourished. It's not less or more. It's we are complete, we are whole, we are nourished. A quick pause before we continue. If you're listening to this episode, chances are you're trying to make sense of a symptom, whether that's weight, fatigue, PMS, brain fog, hair shedding, acne, or period pain. Maybe you've run the tests, being told everything looks normal while nothing actually feels normal. I want you to hear this clearly. Your symptoms are real and your body is communicating, and you don't actually have to figure this out alone. After decades of trying to find answers for my patients and myself and studying across the various fields of healthcare, I created the Fundamentals Framework because the healthcare system hasn't had a space for women who feel stuck between symptoms and answers, and I wanted to fix that by giving you clarity and a way forward without being dismissed, overwhelmed, or disconnected from your body. Inside our clinic, you work one-on-one with a registered healthcare practitioner trained in this method, complete science-backed functional testing that looks beyond bloods, and build a personalized roadmap based on your body, not trends and not bias. Not to fix you, but to understand you. If you're ready to stop guessing and start listening differently to your body, you can book a free clarity call via the link in our show notes. Appointments open early 2026. All right, let's get back into the episode. If the energetics are set, and if the energetics are like the road that our body or our car is driving on, if we can set the road up to be nice and smooth, it's much easier for our car. And our car doesn't continually break down and we wonder what the hell's wrong with our car. It's like, let's get the road as smoothly paved as possible. So focusing on those beliefs, and then also looking at your environment. Who is around you? What are they saying? And picking up on it and either removing yourself or standing up for yourself or offering them a different opinion or a different approach. So when we think about the engine of our body, we need to support our 4 fundamentals, because our 4 fundamentals care for how our cells convert energy. So we're not thinking about it in terms of, well, maybe it's my thyroid, maybe it's my blood sugars, maybe it's my kidneys and my fluid balance, because all of these are interrelated. And yes, they do matter. And yes, they are 100% impacting your energy balance. But if we only focus on one aspect, we can be missing everything else. And this is what I was talking about with my patient yesterday, where she was suffering from a underfunctioning thyroid. It wasn't autoimmune. She was told that she needed to be on medication for the rest of her life, but she wanted to know why. Why was her thyroid doing that? Why was it yo-yoing on her hormone blood tests? And what we were discovering is that, hey, your thyroid isn't the end picture. It's not the foundation of your body. It is responding to every other system in your body. It's responding to what's happening with your blood sugars. It's responding to what's happening with your stress, to what's happening with your immune system, to what's happening with your hormones, to what's happening with your fluid balance. It's all responding. But remember, it comes back to that master energy controller, the hypothalamus in your brain. So how do we support that? We support your 4 fundamentals. So number 1, nervous system. How do we support your nervous system? There's going to be so many things that you would have heard of. My favorite and all-time best thing to do that is going to speak to your nervous system is spaciousness. Spaciousness, spaciousness, spaciousness. So this can be spaciousness in your calendar. If you can create time that's just for you and you can have things that are playful and pleasurable and enjoyable to do, absolutely do that. If you're like, how the hell am I going to carve out time for myself? That means I'm going to have to wake up 4 hours early because I have newborns and I have older children and I've got a full-time job and I have sick parents and I have all these things. It's like, okay, well, carving out more time in your calendar might be a little bit of a stretch to begin with. Okay, well, how do we create spaciousness in other ways? Well, we can create spaciousness in our voice. We can slow down how fast we're talking. So already when I'm talking with you now, I feel so much calmer with slowing down the pace, creating more space in how I speak. We can also create more space in our movement. So instead of sitting curled up with our shoulders rounded or hunched forward looking at our phone, we can sit with our arms back, our body open. That signals to that part of our brain that we are safe. We created space. We can also clear our environment, clear our space, have our space feel calm. We can also create spaciousness in how fast we move. You might be wiping the kitchen bench down and you're wiping it really fast like crazy, and then you have to quickly get in the car with the kids and run around and do all these things. What happened if you just slowed down how you were wiping the kitchen bench? So this is where we don't necessarily have to upheave our life and go on 2 retreats a year to balance our nervous system, and the rest of the time we're just running around like crazy. We can still do all of the things in our life, but we are being different when we're doing them. Particularly if you're like, everything I'm doing is really great. I live a really great, fulfilled, full life. If that is what's happening, just change how you're being. Next, we focus on our metabolism. And our metabolism, one of the best ways you can focus on this, and this is what Dr. Josh talks about in his episode, is your circadian rhythm. So align your body with the sun as much as you can. Get up and be in the sunrise or closest to the sunrise as possible. If you can get there within 10 minutes, incredible, amazing. And be out in the sun without any glasses or sunglasses on for the first half an hour of the day. So focusing on that will actually help your body and that rhythm of the hypothalamus go, oh, it's this time of year. I'm at this latitude in the world. I live in Southern Victoria. I live in America. I live in the middle of Australia. Your body is detecting those wavelengths and it's knowing, oh, it's wintertime, it's summertime, it's spring, it's autumn, and it's actually shuttling around a lot of our hormones. So if you are someone that wakes up, look at your phone straight away, or you're under blue or fluorescent light, that's artificial light, and then you work inside all day behind a screen, and then you might go outside for a bit of time and exercise, and then you come home and everyone's eaten dinner and you've done all that, and then you're either looking at a TV or looking at a screen of some other kind, your body doesn't know what time it is. Doesn't know what time it is. So it gets confused about, well, what am I meant to be doing with my energy? And then you notice your sleep gets off, and then you notice that you feel exhausted and fatigued when you wake up because your body didn't go into that healing state when you're sleeping, because it doesn't realize, oh, it's actually nighttime. I need to shift into changing my energy in this way. So it is really, really important to align your body with the sun. So first thing in or on your body is the sun. In the middle of the day, if you work inside, get outside for 10 or so minutes if you can. And then at the end of the day, if you can, see sunset. And when the sun is down, limit indoor lighting, make it nice and dim, limit your blue lights, because this actually helps your body know what time of day it is, let alone helps your vitamin D level build, which is incredible for regulating your energy, regulating your immune system, regulating your hormones. It's incredible. So it helps with that energy balance. The next one, of course, is your nutrients. So nutrients is, okay, well, what am I actually eating? And without going into crazy detail about calories in, calories out, and what's in them, focusing on 3 balanced meals a day. So you're having proteins, fats, and carbs, some fiber. That's what you're focusing on for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So building your meal around that is really great. And you should notice that when you have enough proteins and fats, you're actually not hungry until the next meal. So you should last around 4 to 5 hours between your meals. Now, there is things like fasting, and should I be doing fasting? That's going to help with my immune system. It's going to help with my hormones. It's going to help with all these things. When your body is in energy conservation mode, which is when we feel brain fog, when we feel like we have weight that we cannot lose even though we've been starving ourselves, when we have immune dysregulation, when we have hormone dysregulation, fasting is not the tool that I would use at that time. It is not the tool. It adds another stressor to your body. Your body goes, crap, well, maybe we don't have any food around, so I'm going to switch modes. I need to change where I'm shifting my energy to. So we need to help support this part of our brain that decides how much energy we need and where are we shuttling it to. So we want to make it feel it's safe by we have spaciousness. We want to help it know what time of day it is and help with our vitamin D levels, which is our sunshine, which is really supportive to the metabolism. Then we want to help support our nutrients. So regular meals and having them be nice and balanced. So proteins, fats, carbs, and having fiber in there too. Then lastly is our blood sugars. Now, blood sugars are really still that consistent mealtime and eating when the sun is up and avoiding when the sun is down. That helps to avoid big blood sugar drops, particularly when we're sleeping. If we eat close to bedtime, it's not that it's like, oh my gosh, you're going to hold on to all this weight because you've eaten it just before you sleep. It's more so that the body then is going, oh, it's darker. It's thinking, oh, well, you shouldn't necessarily be eating because I've shifted all of these gut clocks and hormone clocks around what time the master clock controller, aka the sun, is doing. So ideally, eat when the sun is up. Avoid eating as much as you can when the sun is down. If you want to check your blood sugars and know medically what to look for, fasting insulin below 6. You can also look at your HbA1c, which is the average of your blood sugars. And also you may choose to get your leptin level tested, which is what we talk about in Dr. Josh's episode. We want that leptin level to be between 4 and 10. If it's above 10, it means that, our body is struggling to access our fat as fuel. So aligning our body with the sun is incredible for that. The other thing that Dr. Josh talks about, particularly if we are leptin resistant. So I just want to make a side note. This is for if you've really been struggling to lose weight and you are you are noticing that you're holding a lot more excess energy in the form of weight, and you feel brain fog and you struggle to recover from exercise and you get that 3-4 p.m. slump, then really looking at, okay, well, how can I support my leptin? Dr. Josh talks about getting 50 grams of protein in for your breakfast and then having lunch around 2 p.m. and then you're not eating for the rest of the day. So that is not a maintenance thing. That is not what I would recommend to everyone in general, but it is something that can help if you are noticing you have leptin resistance. You can order leptin tests online. Again, as we speak about in his episode, listening to your body and your body's signals is the best thing you can do to stay connected to your body and not necessarily outsource with testing all the time, or with Fitbits or Garmin's or Whoop devices, always looking at that to tell you what's going on. Your body is already telling you. We're just helping you listen to that differently. So those are some things that you can be really focusing on when it comes to that weight. Creating spaciousness in your day, helping with the timing of your day. So aligning your lifestyle with the sun where you are. If it's wintertime, you're going to be eating less generally, and your body actually shifts to that biologically. If it's summertime, we generally eat more because the sun's up longer. So there's general things that alter and change naturally. We need to align our body and stay connected to ourselves and nature. Thirdly, your nutrients, getting those proteins, fats, and carbs, and a good balance of your micronutrients. So changing the veggies and the fruits that you're having. Then also your blood sugar. So eating that consistently will be incredibly impactful. When you are doing this, you will start to notice that your energy builds and you will want to start exercising more. Exercise and movement is incredible. It helps with all of your fundamentals, every single one. But it is about moving in a way that nourishes you. See the difference? Remember, we went way back to the start. The first thing we look at is, what are the beliefs? Why am I doing this action? Is it because it's going to nourish me? Or is it because I feel like I have to, because I have to lose all this weight, because if I'm heavy, then it's going to mean X, Y, Z about me. And it's being driven by fear. See the difference? When you are moving to nourish yourself, maybe one day you are going for a walk around the block. Maybe every day you're going for a walk around the block. Maybe you're choosing to walk with a friend. Maybe another day you're like, I actually just want to go by myself. Maybe you're going to Pilates. Maybe you're playing tennis. Maybe you're starting pickleball. Maybe you're going surfing. Maybe you're going skiing. Whatever it is, you tune into your body and go, how does my body want to move today? And doing that in a really nourishing way. Then it becomes so much more enjoyable. And new habits start to build, which is exactly what Dr. Gina said. And it's exactly what Emma spoke about in her episode about how do we make movement more enjoyable. So hopefully this episode helped you, tying everything together so that it's not that you are the problem. And I can say that wholeheartedly with 110 million% belief in that, because you are listening to this. You're driving in your car, you're walking somewhere, you're walking around the house, doing jobs around the house, listening to this. And you might be thinking, yeah, this is all very well and good. I've tried all the things and this just doesn't seem like it's going to work. Or what about this? What about that? And what are people going to think if I do decide to do Ozempic? Or what happens if I do change and then all of a sudden I'm not the fat one? Or what happens if, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to change all of these things and where do I even start? You aren't the problem, because your body is working absolutely perfectly. You are here right now listening to this. You're alive. It's incredible. Your thermostat in your brain has shuttled the energy exactly where it needed to be at every moment in your life to keep you alive. It's incredible. So now what we want to do is help change the recipe. We want to tweak where your body is shifting that energy. And we do that by looking at the beliefs that we have and changing them to one that feels really great for us. So as I suggested, I'm someone that nourishes themselves. And then the next thing is looking at your functional and looking at all the pieces that need to support how your engine works, because when your engine is working better, that's helping your body utilize that energy and balance the energy in a different way, which tweaks our thermostat. So we can actually tweak our thermostat ourselves when we look at those 4 core aspects. We can also tweak the thermostat by taking things like Ozempic. That is an option as well. So when we think about those 4 fundamentals, nervous system, creating spaciousness in your day, in your body, in your voice, however you want to do it. Metabolism, aligning your body with the sun, getting out and seeing the sun as the first thing in or on your body, limiting blue light when it's dark, being out in the sun when it is out during the day. That is going to be not only impactful for your energy, but also for your hormones, for your vitamin D, for your immune system. Everything is connected. Then we look at nutrients. What are you doing with your proteins, fats, and carbs? Every single meal, having that fiber in there too. You're going to feel nice and nourished. Every meal should last you between 4 to 5 hours of feeling full. That's when you know it's a nice, nourishing meal. And if you're noticing that you're hungry in between, just ask yourself, is it because I'm bored? Is it because I'm stressed? Is it because I'm running around? You can see how all of these fundamentals link into each other. And then lastly, your blood sugar. So it's having those regular, consistent meals, which helps your blood sugar stay nice and level so you're not getting peaks and troughs, which then impact your mood, which then can make you crave certain foods. And we have this whole knock-on effect. So when we care for those 4 fundamentals, it helps with our behavior, and it also helps tweak that thermostat, aka the hypothalamus in the inside of our brain. I just wanted to quickly add, sunlight is incredible for speaking directly to that thermostat as well. It actually has been shown to have similar effects to the GLP-1 medications too. So absolutely, that's an option. If it's suitable for you, absolutely talk to your doctor and consider doing it. If you're also like, I want to help my whole life and go, okay, how am I going to give myself a completely different reality or a complete different lifestyle, which is going to change my reality? We're looking at those 4 fundamentals, because creating spaciousness, yes, it can have knock-on effects with our weight, but it also has knock-on effects with our relationship, how we feel about our life, how we feel about the people in our lives, how we feel about ourselves, how we actually start to enjoy our life and live in our life instead of rushing from one thing to another thing to another thing. And then we look up and it's 10 years later and we're like, I wasn't actually in my life. So there's never a quick fix. If you're ever lost about what to do, always come back to those 4 fundamentals and consider, what's that underlying belief that's creating these behaviors of mine, and how might I tweak that and find a better one? Thank you so much for listening along. I would love for you to write your comments below and tell us how you felt about this episode and this season on our show. It's been incredible to talk to such amazing experts, and I know that all of you will be getting at least one thing that is going to help change your life by listening to your body differently. Thanks for listening to our Weight and Metabolism series. It's designed to help you understand that your weight is a message from your body, not a character flaw. If something in this series resonated with you, let us know in the comments below. Check out the show notes for important follow-up information and links, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what's coming next. Please remember, this episode is for educational purposes only. Always consult a qualified health practitioner before making any medical decisions. Every body is different, and so is every healing journey.